Did Tupac ever talk to you about the whole Quad Studio incident and Ayanna Jackson accusing him of rape?
Tupac, at that time, Tupac never talked about it. Tupac never talked about his tragedies or things he went through. He was always moving forward. And I heard all I heard from outside sources. So I never talked to him about it. I mean, it was bigger than life that he's accusing Biggie and Puffy of this shit. And, you know, once you get with them, and it's not really on the radar. And that had already happened. So, no, we never talked about that. We did talk about the rape, though.
What did he say about that?
When I arrived working for him at Death Row, after, you know, I got settled in, he pulled me to the side. He said, Kendrick, you are no longer the star. I am. I was like, I'm cool with that. I'm with Death Row right now, you know, because he wanted to make sure that I was grounded and everything was centered around making him great, which that's what it should have been. And we sat in his hotel room and he told me the story. Because I think I asked him about it. I'm like, what the fuck? And he told me the story. And we've been through similar things, you know, with ladies and stuff like that, our backgrounds. And he told me how this girl was being promiscuous and some shit got out of hand. He let it happen. And this is me telling you what he told me, so I can't say it actually happened. I'm not trying to humiliate the girl. I'm not trying to blame her, but it sounded to me like she was embarrassed by the course of events and he didn't look out for her afterwards, you know, like, and then he got called rape, but he didn't rape her. He had been with her and then he went to sleep and then something else happened after that, not involving him. He had already had sex with her before. It was you know what I mean? So basically it was some trumped up charges. I'll tell it to you that way. And it's nothing we haven't seen before. You know, what success brings somebody trying to bring you down. And that was perfect storm. Then he gets shot. Everything falls apart. So they thought.
Right. And you wrote Tupac while he was in prison, right?
Mm-hmm. Somebody got me his address at Clinton. I hadn't heard from him. And you could tell by the way he wrote back so fast and the things he said in these letters, he was so happy to hear from me. And it was cool because I was like, that's my boy. That's where we're supposed to be. And he said, I might be getting out. I know. He said, I am getting out. And I'm like, he ain't getting out, you know, for another year or two, right? And they let him out. And he called me. He said, hey, man, you still want to get this music? I'll do this. I need help up here or down here in L.A. I'm on my way. And that's when he told me about that. And we talked about stuff, how I was going to be working for Death Row, which was a whole different thing than Digital Underground.
So how did you become Tupac's assistant?
How did I become Tupac's assistant? He called me. Basically, when Tupac got with Death Row, he needed to be a star. He needed to be fluid and get his shit done. And he needed somebody he could trust around him. So he called me up. He said, hey, man, come on down. I need you to help me do the day in, day out stuff. And, you know, that role took on helping him with logistics, helping him get shit done, driving his car, thinking on my feet, you know, in music situations, you know, music related and street stuff. You know, I knew his world, his street world and the business world. So I was just like a good interface, you know, so, and he knew it. So he called me up and I came.
Give me the backstory on that, man. You know, becoming Tupac assistant, you first coming to LA, joining Death Row, being around that whole environment. Just tell me how that was, man, and just break it down. Give me the backstory about how it was when you first, you know, came around him.
So I drove my bucket out to LA And I'm like, where's Pac? He told me to come. I'm calling him. I'm like, I can't. He's like, man, I'll call you back. I'm in a session. It took like 4 or 5 days so I could actually get him on the phone. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? And finally he called me, said, man, you ready? And he called me up. And I'm like going to go drive to the studio and meet him at the studio. Here come like 7 cars into the gas station. And I see him in the car. I'm supposed to be meeting him at the studio. I pull in, I'm seeing people like, like Snoop and Nate Dogg and, Dog Pound. Cast is popping right now. And, they saying hello to me. And from there, it just went, man. I was starstruck for about 10 seconds. And then it was time to go to work. Because everywhere we went, we was doing stuff in and out and celebrity in these famous places. And I was adapting. So everything was turned up. Because Death Row was the hottest thing on the planet. And, they had marketing people, they had publishing people. Papa G was their media guy. So we had media appearances, magazine ads, magazine interviews. They had like for Details magazine, they had a whole set with a fake bathroom. You've seen that picture where he's wearing all the gold in the bathtub and stuff. Right. All that stuff is just built for him for a magazine interview. So the scale of everything was big. Everything was like everything. $100 French fries, eating at a restaurant and there's celebrities everywhere. Eating with people you've seen on movies and stuff. And it's not so much that you're like, wow, it's like you're doing the work at the level that they're doing it. Everybody's working. And that was a cool thing. But the funny thing is, because I've heard about Suge, everybody's hearing about Suge, like he's this big gangster, And which he was. But Tupac's like, well, before you can officially be hired, you got to talk to Suge. Like, oh shit. But it was cool. So I go and they had this little office inside the studio, but you wouldn't even know it was there because you go through the kitchen and there was a door. Go in there, it's this fucking red carpet, the weight set. You've seen stuff like that in the movies and stuff, but that was kind of dope, man. I went in there and Suge was just cool as fuck, man. He's like, yeah, he told y'all go back. Don't go Hollywood. Don't go Hollywood. I'm like, what? But he was just saying, everybody loses their mind. Like all those beatdowns and shit you be hearing about, it's from our behaviors. Cats come from the streets and they do something shiesty. I get it. And he's like, don't go Hollywood. Basically, don't be bigger than Tupac. You know what I'm saying? And that I got that. I understood that. And I was like, cool. I thought it was gonna be something else, but he was cool.
Did you see some of the infamous Death Row beatdowns while you were there?
I didn't see like a mob type beatdowns, the ones where they tore up shit and shit. Other people did shit. I seen somebody get their head bashed in, but it was all for display. It was all for show. But yeah, I've seen a few things. I think Suge was trying to make a point. We were in New Orleans and the girls who were dancing for Tupac got into it with some other girls on Bourbon Street. And Suge heard about it. And he asked who was there. And I think it was DJ Quiks' boy. It was his homie. He said, you was there? And all right, so Suge's phone rang. So he talking business and shit all loud in the room. We all sitting in these chairs like, what the fuck are we up here? We were all in our rooms, and then he called this meeting. And so we all sitting there like, what's going on? And Suge is just laughing and talking. And he says, all right, man. Hangs up the phone. Then he walks a few steps and he grabs dude's head. Bam! rock that nigga to the wall. Everybody's like, oh shit. He was about to stomp him out, right? He was talking shit to him because the girls got into it and he didn't make the shit stop. When he saw it, it's like you see something and you don't fix it. You know what I'm saying? And dude didn't have nothing to do with that shit, but he was sending a message, you know. This ship is everybody's ship to protect. And DJ Quick did the coldest shit right there. DJ Quick, because he started talking shit about everybody's crews and shit. Pac's like, my crew is tight. DJ Quick's like, oh, it's on me? He grabbed that nigga, took him outside, and started swinging on him. You could see him hitting him through the door and shit. This dude could have whooped the shit out of DJ Quick. But DJ Quick was saving that boy's life because he was about to get stumped. But he policed his own shit like he's supposed to. Save that boy's life. He whooped his own boy's ass to save his boy's life. And that boy didn't do nothing. But Suge, I mean, maybe he didn't do nothing, but maybe he should have stopped those girls. I don't know. But I saw it for what it was, and he was sending a message. You see little stuff like that, man. Little shit like that. But that's the streets. Suge took niggas from the streets and made them stars, made them national headlines. So that's the temperament.
Right. Did you see any other beatdowns, or that's all?
Yeah, that's all. I've seen some other shit, but yeah, that's about all I want to talk about.